A Story of Consciousness, Westworld Season 1. Consciousness is a fickle thing really. We believe it is something we are born with. A precious gift possessed by humans, and to some extent other animals. But ours is a complex sort. We use it as a way to determine our superiority over that of other mammals, birds, and cephalopods. Researchers and cognitive scientists alike have studied the phenomenon of human consciousness, and have come to determine that, in all its beauty and complexities, consciousness was nothing but an evolutionary mistake.
A mistake that made generations of people create their own cultures, religions, sense of self-worth, and laws even.
A mistake that will never be fully understood. The topic of consciousness became intriguing to me due to my latest viewing of the television series called Westworld. The show itself brings into question the reality that we base ourselves on when we consider the phenomenon known as consciousness. Can human-like consciousness only be exclusive to us, or could it be constructed, built by human hands and minds, using only the language of code? What makes an artificial consciousness different from ours? Well, that really depends on how well we are able to break consciousness down into its simple parts and compare them to that of an artificial intelligence's consciousness, at least of the ones in Westworld. Based on a brief reading of a review article by a psychologist, Boris Kachubi, human consciousness can be broken down into three simple parts based on animal behavior, communication, play, and tools. This is rather basic for human minds, you could say. However, how these elements interface with each other makes the basis on which we make use of our consciousness in our everyday lives. Directly contrasting this are Westworld's elements of consciousness, which are self-interest, improvisation, and memory. Their elements don't have to be as bare-boned as ours, as the scientists in Westworld have discovered that certain facets of identity can be grouped into categories, making it possible, and easier to create a sense of individualism. Individualism seems to be a common theme throughout the show. It made me question myself. Is being independent and having freedom of our actions the most important factor to being human? And what would happen if it were to be taken away from us? What if we were to become puppets, and be stripped of our choices? What if we weren't even able to realize that our choice was taken away in the first place? Would we ever be able to tell? Individualism comes with the struggle of facing a reality that only you can perceive.
I admire Westworld and the premise of the plot.
It shows you how hard someone can fight for their identity. The lengths they are willing to go to prove that their own self-consciousness can be just as important as human consciousness. Westworld demonstrates the single most important thing that anyone in existence could ever fight for. The ability to be aware of oneself. The choice to face your own reality, rather than not face any at all.